Josh Tulloch. I've been so excited to have you on the podcast because you do not hold back. You spill the tea when it comes to startups. So we're going to go into your thoughts on Entrepreneur First. What do you think?
Let's start with Entrepreneur First. I think Entrepreneur First, from a functional model, in terms of what it's trying to do, is incredibly important. It is offering people, literally in the name, it's Entrepreneur First. Like it's offering people an alternative route to the jobs and the corporate chains that are honestly. One of my personal crusades is against the consulting industrial complex, which is the shackling of talent and the sucking of talent from top universities, from top fields into these corporate jobs, which ultimately are they're not productive. They are helping, massive companies get richer. And you've got people who should be curing cancer who are making slides for McKinsey. And there aren't many alternative routes. And I remember being in uni.
Because you went to Oxford, by the way, yeah?
I did. And it was a fantastic experience, but you leave there. I left there thinking that there were 4 routes in life: consulting, law, civil service, or what's the other one? Engineering, or it's there wasn't really variety in what they allow you to see as acceptable options. And it's not really an institutional, I wouldn't say it's like an institutional conspiracy or anything. It's that these companies have identified these institutions as where they're going to get their talent, and therefore they monopolize your attention. So every single student society is funded and sponsored by finance firms and law firms and whatever. The career service is all about those things. It's like they are optimized for getting you jobs because that's partly how these universities are assessed. So the more people get jobs, the more the rankings. It's like it's employability, right? And I think EF, in the context of fighting the employability machine, is incredibly important. Now, I think that there has. I have not experienced EF myself. I think the question mark for me over EF is how many winners have really been picked. Like it's been going for well over a decade now. And I think maybe 1 or 2 unicorns have come out of that versus and I think the first unicorn was actually maybe last year through the AI wave. And then the question becomes like, okay, what is the means by which the selection is happening? Like, what's going on?
Because you're saying that for something to last 10 years, you're saying there should be more than 2 unicorns.
Yeah, I think
how many there are.
I think maybe it's not an EF issue. Maybe it's a wider European issue of like, why is a YC able to produce literally world-changing companies? And we've got a similar system of taking talent, develop the talent, and then get them investment. And we're not seeing the same results. So maybe it's not an EF problem, because I think, quite frankly, if you look at the landscape in the UK and in Europe generally, like what does exist here? It's getting better for sure, but we're nowhere near our American counterparts. So is it a cultural issue? Is it a capital issue? Like, is it the fact that we're in the UK that all of these companies are hobnobbed to an extent? So I don't know. But like, from a functional point of view, EF is doing one of the most important things you can do in the ecosystem, which is rescuing young, hungry talent and allowing them to do their life's work, which I think we need more. We need more EFs for sure.
Would you go as far to say rescue? Do you think coming out of Oxford, seeing the 4 things you could do, consulting, banking, whatever else, would you say people need to be rescued from the shackles of corporates? Really?
I grew up in Peckham.
Peckham, let's go.
No gang signs, no gang signs.
Oh yeah, no gang.
We made it out. Hello. I'm still there, to be honest. I'm in Queens Road now. I think genuinely the impression I had of university, especially top universities, was informed again by the American view of it, which is I thought I was going to go there and find the next Zuckerbergs and like I was going to find dorm room energy, right?
You were like, oh my gosh, get me to Oxford.
This
Like,
is
I'm
the
going to
thing.
meet like,
it's exciting, right? And coming from Peckham, growing up on the council estate, I was homeless for a bit in my teens. You know, went through all sorts of stuff. Like family income was low, very, very low. And going into a world where I didn't really know what to expect, but I expected a generation of people who wanted to change things. And you do have some of those, but like the institution isn't set up, or it doesn't attract, it has not set itself up to attract the types of people for whom the world is not working. And as such, there is no impetus when they are given power to change anything, because they are vast majority are coming from backgrounds where there is no struggle. So, and I think this is one of the conversations that, because I was president of my college and did a bunch of work around equality and diversity in the wider university. And I think one of the things that was missing from that conversation was, oh, you know, diversity is great from like a racial point of view, and you know, as time went on, it evolved into like a class-based diversity as well, which is a whole nother conversation.
That's another conversation, yeah.
You know,
because you can be black and very well off,
and
you know?
and that was like a big part of the demographics that were there. But as time went on, it did evolve, right? I mean, there was a more nuanced understanding of inequalities and what needs to be done. But I think that the main thing that was missing from that debate and that conversation was, actually, you are missing out on the people for whom the world is not working. Like, if you are not engaged in class diversity, especially, then you are not going to produce people who are going to be world changers. And if you are an institution, and I don't think they view themselves as this, if you're an institution that produces world change, who wants to produce alumni who are notable, then you have to attract people that have a vested interest in making things better. So when I got there, to my disappointment, the vast majority of the people there were there to get onto a grad scheme. It was like, how do I get my, and you know what, I don't begrudge them, because again, it's not, the world is working. There wasn't like this route isn't really going to make a huge amount of impact, therefore let me go into entrepreneurship or whatever. And like, people have needs. There's socioeconomic needs. You need a job, you need money, etc., etc.
And you want to look good, or you want to look what other people expect you to do.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
And like, there just isn't the incentive structure just isn't there to like do anything more than get a job post uni. And that was disappointing. That was like, oh, I thought I was about to, I'm going to meet the prime ministers and the presidents and all of this stuff. And you do, they do exist in certain circles, but it's a very small minority. And that was a great disappointment. And so to your question about, do these people need to be rescued? I think, one, some people in these top institutions don't really like want to be rescued in a way. But then there are people like me, and there are people who I did meet who are now changing the world, who are like MPs, and they're policymakers, and they are in entrepreneurship, and they are, like, quite frankly, they're about to start running the country. But then we have this class of people who they could be doing more, they want to be doing more, but any path that doesn't offer them stable employment and stable income from just a human needs point of view is not reasonable to ask them to undertake, right? Like, it's not reasonable to ask people, you should be curing cancer, but the PhD stipend in London is like £18,000. It's like, I have a family to provide for. I have to pay rent.
Even if you don't have a family, it's not for my social personal, like, it's not,
Exactly. So there are those people who are currently in the golden handcuffs, who I know are miserable, because some of them are my friends, who want to be doing more, but the incentives just aren't there, and it's just far too risky. And if you could say to an individual, okay, you can be paid 70K to do this. And really what you really need is maybe 40 or 50K. And we can provide that stipend. We can provide you housing. Just build something. And I think this is to your point about entrepreneur. Yeah. EF is doing that to a certain extent. And I think they need more resources to do more. We can begin to rescue people because these people are extremely clever, they're literally the best of the best. And they just need the resources to put their talents into a space that's, I think, more humanly productive for the human race. Like, go build something that's going to change things, and don't make slides for McKinsey. That's my...
And why do you think McKinsey has become so coveted, except from the money? I mean, I know money talks, money plays a huge factor in why people want to do things, but what does McKinsey have over curing cancer? Especially if you're that intelligent. Why would you want to? I'm just curious. I'm not saying it's a bad thing.
Yeah, no, I think obviously there's the economic considerations, but primarily it's I think it's a game of CVs, right? Once you leave uni, you have to start playing the game again. And in the same way that with your personal statement, you have to stack it up with all the things that you do, you have to then start again, really. You are a blank slate once you graduate, and you have to get endorsements, because it's really credibility, right? If McKinsey has accepted you, then it's the same way that if Oxford has accepted you, there's a tick. If McKinsey has accepted you, there's a tick. And really what anyone's doing in the world is they are outsourcing judgment to people that are trusted. So we live in a world where if you haven't been endorsed by credible institutions, you are going to be passed over. So there are some people who will go to McKinsey and then do their 2-year stint and then go off and do other things. But that's really it. It's like, how can I become credible to the world? And again, that's a big issue, because if the only source of credibility are jobs that are unproductive for humanity.
Oh, you would say that?
I think so. I think like it's not a question of whether these things, like these industries obviously need to exist. But if somebody has the talent to cure cancer, or someone has the talent to create a company, especially in like, so like, for example, we had one of my friends went on to create like cash machine, a startup that was involved in creating cash machines, solar powered cash machines,
Nice.
to allow people off the grid to get access to cash and the banking system. That kind of stuff is world changing. Even if it doesn't scale globally, it's world changing for the people who get it. Should that person be creating a slide, or helping Coca-Cola rebrand, or restructuring a $1 billion company so that they make 0.2% more profit? Or should they be helping the unbanked get involved in their local financial system? I think the latter. But ultimately, again, that's a really risky route, right? And until you de-risk that route, until you build the infrastructure where people are able to make that choice, like allow people to make the choice and publicize that choice and show them that it's possible, we're just going to be, all of our talent's going to be chained to desks, which is a shame.
And it's good that EF is making entrepreneurship seem more prestigious. You know, I think people who want that recognition by going to McKinsey now, hopefully they can get a bit of that at somewhere like EF. So for anyone watching the podcast who is in a corporate job, you know, if they've entered a grad scheme and they want to build something bigger, what would you tell them?
They just need to find the right room. A lot of this is energy. It's when you, so I quit my job. I was always in startups, right? But even as part of a startup, I was like, because I was like, I don't really feel like I want to be an operator. I want to be a founder. And I've never been more stressed or stretched or poor or like sacrifices, galore. But the feeling, the energy, the thrill of what I'm doing.
Yeah.
I have never woken up unhappy about the choices I've made.
God, yeah.
Even though my material reality is much worse, right? And I think being around people for whom that is true and who like emanate and ooze that energy is life-changing in the sense that you come into that room and you're like, oh my God, these people have control over their lives. They're actually doing something. And in those conversations, suddenly you realize I'm in prison.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's it's when you, it's like you've been in prison your whole life.
Is it the plate? Have you heard the allegory of the cave?
That's it. That's it.
what it
You
feels
leave the
like.
cave and you're like,
like,
oh, that's some bullshit.
yeah.
Like whatever I was just doing. And that's really what I would say is this: don't quit your job tomorrow. Like if you're going to quit your job, what I did was pick your number. How much do you need to survive for a year? Maybe you need to move. I left the country because I was like, I want to leave my job quickly. How much does it take to survive for a year in Turkey? It's cheaper. So I got that number and I left. I sold all my things and I left.
Did you to Turkey?
I had a garage sale. I just like put all my stuff on my bed, and then my going away party was take things
in,
and then
because I'm going to Turkey.
Bye bye. And I think what I would recommend is just start immersing yourself in the world. Go to an event. Go to a community. There's Plugged, there's Encode Hub, there's hackathons, there's Ramen Space. There's all these places in London. Luma is just your best friend. Go to Luma, find something that interests you, and just be in that space. Soak up the energy. And if it is true that in your soul that you're a founder, it will infect you immediately.
It will, yeah.
And once you're infected, you won't be able to stop thinking. And then, gradually ease yourself in. Go to more hackathons, build a community, start showing up. Essentially build your landing pad. So wherever if you are to quit, this is the place that you are going to land. So go and make the connections, make the friends, be in those spaces consistently so that when you do quit, you've got a group of people who are gonna help you. And then just start planning for it. Get your number. What's your number for the year? And then give yourself a time limit. Like, you can't be in ideation stage for years.
No, you could. Yeah, you gotta be
within
urgent.
3 months. Start building. Like start building, and then if nothing is working after a year,
then maybe go back. Yeah,
go back.
Yeah, because at least you you never want to think, what if I did? Yeah. At least if you tried and you've got to go back, that's no shame in that. But I used to work briefly at a scale up, and I never knew that there I had this underlying sense of like, is this it? Like always, every time I woke up, I was like, is this what life is? Yeah. Eventually, in the pandemic, lost that job. And it's like, as you were saying, I don't hate on corporate jobs. And it wasn't corporate, it was more of a scale up. But the feeling of freedom and then founding your own thing, you never wake up with that feeling of, am I doing? And like, you always feel fulfilled. Yeah. And I think that feeling of fulfillment is, obviously I don't make as much money, but I remember my friend saying to me that, would you take a job if you earned 10 times as much? And I said, Yassin, no. Like now money is not what, it doesn't matter. Yeah. Like I would be on the floor and not go back to what felt like the shackles of life.
That's it. It's freedom is intoxicating. It's so intoxicating. And it's this feeling of there's nothing above me and I can stop when I want to start. The entire world is at your fingertips. Like, I mean, for what we're doing, it's like there's $1 trillion on the table. Like sort of like that's the sort of ambition that fuels you. And a lot of people, it's latent within them, and then they come and they're like, oh, right. And we have it all the time. We have people who, like, for example, we have someone who just quit Starling Bank.
Really? Wow.
And we have founder house parties. So Plug started as a house party. I
saw them on LinkedIn. They look so cool.
Really, really fun. And like last time we had like 10 engineers from Starling come down, and every single one of them are like, yeah, I'm gonna quit soon.
Really?
Because I want to become a founder.
It's really hard to quit something like Starling. And imagine they're earning good money.
Good money. But then they come to a house party like that and they're like, oh, this is what it feels like to be free. Yeah, well, let's start, moving on that. So, I think corporate jobs, again, not everyone is built to be a founder. Not everyone should be a founder.
Yeah, no, true. But I think if you think you should be, it's worth giving it like
give it a shot.
Just give it a shot, yeah. Because I don't think I would have ever done my own thing. I mean, I was kind of doing my own thing, but I would have never left if I hadn't been in the pandemic. They were like, your job's no more.
That's it.
And I was like, wow, imagine how long that could have. But it's not to, I don't want to shame jobs because people do need jobs. And that job did teach me a lot for that time.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. So I don't want to.
It all plays. It's a question of, are you doing what you should be doing? And like, should is a very loaded word, right? Because it's not to say that it's prescriptive as to, you know, objectively what you ought, but it's like from your heart. Again, like, ought you be curing cancer? Like, ought you be building the next climate tech solution from your heart? Like, and do your skills align with that? And if they do, then you're not where you should be. And it's really about, where should people be? And some people should be in places, some people shouldn't. And it's just about, let's
Where
just
you're meant to
rearrange
be,
the
yeah.
world so that everyone's in the optimal position, and then everyone wins.
Yeah. And some people are meant to be great consultants. I don't even
Yeah.
want to say, you know, but they're just not there. Or maybe they got looked up over because
Yeah.
of maybe where they went to uni, you know, and they should be in these kind of places. So with that being said, do you think founders are born or made?
I think both. I'm gonna be a nice political answer.
Oh, Josh.
But I think the reason why I say that is that I've got this a framework in my head in terms of like what the types of founder that I want to engage with, or the types of founder I think will win, and that's the existential founder. The existential founder is the founder for whom it is a matter of survival or identity. It's like it's literally a question of it's existential. It's like, I am this or I am nothing. And I think that comes from two places. There's the people who become existential because they are made, and that's usually due to socioeconomic factors. I am a founder because there is no way out but
To build.
founding, but to build, right? And those are usually people who have like outsized obligations. So like, a job isn't going to be enough to fulfill the sort of responsibilities that they have. So there's one founder that I know who wants to provide for his family, right? Who is currently in a corporate job. That corporate job pays what, maybe 60K a year. That's not family provision money. It's like, I want to...
Not in London, yeah.
Not in London. I want to like pay off my parents' mortgage because it's crippling them. I want to do all of these things. And the only way to do it is to build, because that's the only way to get the outsized gains. And for him, it's existential because it's not just him, but it's his entire community and ecosystem and family that's depending on him. So those are the people who are made. And then I think there's also a class of people who don't go through that same hardship, and they are the people for whom they are just born to be founders. They are like, it's a matter of identity. And it's not to say that these buckets don't overlap, but the people for whom it is an identity-based thing, it doesn't really matter. You could be middle class, upper class, whatever. But there is a thing within you, like the way that you are a builder. It's just it just doesn't get more basic than that. There's no further explanation. In the same way that some people are born to be ballet dancers, they're born to be scientists. Some people are just born to be founders. And the existential nature of that comes from, if I am not a founder, it cuts at my very being, like it cuts at my soul. So I cannot help. Again, it becomes existential because I'm like, if I don't do this, I am in crisis on a personal identity level. And that will fuel people. And I think those are the types of founders I love to engage with, because they're the ones who win. They have to win.
They have to, because there's no other option.
This is the thing.
Yeah.
It's like when things get really hard, like I was talking to my accountant. Always a great conversation. Hello, Andreas.
Hello, Andreas.
And you know, obviously in a business there are sometimes, you know, there's taxes and cash flow issues and whatever. And then we're having some cash flow.
Yeah.
Like we're having some cash flow, like real cash flow issues, which have been largely sorted now, but it was difficult at the time. And he asked me like, "You're not worried?" And I was like, "Do you know what? I'll be honest. I've lost everything before. Like, I've suffered so much more than this, that this doesn't faze me.
I'll be back if I have to be. Yeah.
That's the thing. And like, as an investor, if I'm investing in a founder for whom it is existential, I know that even if this investment goes bad, they're going to go again because they have no choice. Like from just a fundamental level. Same thing with the identity founder. Like, I cannot help but be this, and therefore I must be this. I've got no choice. Otherwise, it is crisis. Like it's I build or crisis, and between those two choices, they're gonna build.
It's like build or I'm nothing. Yeah, because who am I without it? Yeah.
Yeah.
So, oh my gosh, there's so much to unpack there, Josh.
I told you there's
It's so much to
a
unpack.
there's a lot in here.
Yeah.
That,
Okay, I'm gonna go one way.
Yeah.
You say that people should be doing what they're meant to be doing.
Yeah.
Who is putting what someone should be doing? Is it written on people's hearts? Is it written before they were born? Like, where is that coming from?
I think that one's tricky. Like I was saying before, that kind of like the should element of what people should be doing is interesting, and I think can become problematic, in the sense that I think there's a community-based VC in SF called South Park Commons, and they have this term that they use a lot, which is your life's work. Like,
Your life's, yeah.
Like, and something that really speaks to me. It's I think it's a combination of, and I think this is true of any vocation or anything that you do. What do you want to do, and what do your skills allow you to do? And then in that overlap is what you should be doing, I think. Like,
Right.
I want to be able to sing. I cannot sing.
Right.
Very sad.
Very sad.
I would give a lot to be able to sing.
Would you?
I would. Do you know what? I'd give some toes.
But to sing,
I think,
I think yeah, you can leave some toast.
that's the thing. Like,
Yeah.
I would, yeah, you know.
Fingers?
And no.
No fingers.
Anything visible, no.
What about fingers and you had the voice of like Celine Dion?
I'd lose 2 fingers.
Yeah.
I think,
Would you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because like I think like it's such an incredible way of. It's magical. I just like people begin to just make noises and like a room's in tears.
Do you know who I saw recently?
Who?
A couple of days ago. Cynthia Erivo.
It's incredible.
She sang the last bit of Dracula for 30 seconds. I said her voice was like my soul.
That's the thing. Like it speaks to like it's just it bypasses all rationality, which I think is an incredible thing. And yeah, so to the point about what people should be doing, like there's what you want to do and what you have the skills to do. And I think in that what's it called? Venn diagram is what your life's work should be. Like I know that I am better at community than I am at building a company, I think.
Ooh. Come to do both.
And now it's like I'm now doing both, and like I'm making a company out of community and community out of company, all of this. And I think that it's an internal reflection, but there is also this sort of like there is like this part of me that's like more the I guess the big brother side of me that's like, we can look at your file and like here's your job, you know, like
what do you mean?
In a sense of like you are really good at science, go cure cancer, right? Go and we'll pay you. But like I think ultimately obviously it has to be the own person's choice, but society's job, or at least our education system's job, should be helping them figure that out. What are your skill sets? What do you want to do? And everyone benefits from that. It's not a airy-fairy sort of like, I guess the counter argument is then, okay, everyone's going to become artists. And it's like, but no, like there are people who have really productive passions and they have really productive skills, and then just marry them, and then you've got skills that will be used passionately. Why can't we use our skills passionately?
Yeah.
There are people who are using their skills dispassionately. They're using their skills sadly. They are miserable using their skills. And imagine what you could unlock in the workforce if everyone was passionate about what they were doing. And that's not to say that everyone becomes an artist, everyone becomes like, again, some people do become artists, but like I would assume, like for me, the reason why I was drawn to consulting out of the options I was given was because it's a problem solving vocation. So I would assume, and I think this is true, that 99% of the people in consulting, they love problem solving, and that's their skill set.
Yeah.
But they're doing it dispassionately in most cases, right?
But they are good at what they are good at it. Yes.
That's the thing. So imagine if we could get the problem solving skills, but they're really happy and they're doing, and that's really what I think your life's work should be. It's using your skills passionately is the idea.
You know, even the first company that I was building, which was a personal development platform for kids, it was the sad fact that only a certain, I feel, amount of kids get to where they're supposed to be. And if you have all this talent on, like, in people that can't, you know, see their full potential, it's not a good service for the world.
No.
However, not to bash EF, but EF does pick a certain type of person to be a founder. And I wonder if they saw who else could be a founder, how many more companies could we be unlocking? And what would you say to something like that? Do you think it's good that EF has gone for this demographic first, or?
I think I'm a big fan of, let 1,000 flowers bloom.
Oh, what does that mean?
It means let every approach be tested and see which one wins.
Right, first.
So I think the problem isn't EF going for whatever type of founder that they go for, because everyone has a thesis, right? Every VC has a thesis. Like Hummingbird, their whole thing is they're all more along the existential founder route of founders that have trauma, founders that have a chip on their shoulder, something to prove. You got other investors who are, if they've got all the credibility markers, then I'll go after them. Everyone has their thesis, right? But someone's going to be wrong and someone's going to be right. And our job isn't this person's wrong. It's how do we build the infrastructure and the resources such that 1,000 EFs can bloom, each with their own thesis, each with their own ideas, each with their own way of approaching things. And I think this is where founder communities play such an incredible role, because founder communities often niche down into particular, again, it's another thesis, right? So Plugged, our thesis is there is something in the existential founder and there's something in the culturally literate founder, the founder who can become leaders of people, leaders of culture, leaders of great companies, people who are well-versed in both the technicalities, but they can actually have a conversation and they are well-rounded people. I think EWAR engaged in the same sort of philosophy, like people who they're leaders. They are not just good at what they do, but they can bring people along with them. And I think that is the answer to the question. It's okay, if everything that's going on, EF has their approach, EWAR has their approach, Antler has their approach, YC has their approach, then we look at the data, what's working,
and then double down maybe on,
and double down on that. And I think this is where, again, it's a shame that the government doesn't think like this, but if I was prime minister or if I was making policy, I'd be like, okay, let's assess again, because, universities are about to become pretty irrelevant.
Do you think soon?
I think universities at the moment, unless they change their model, it's a test of, especially in the social sciences, it's a test of how good you are at prompting now. That's really it. Research is done for, what have you really learned from university that AI cannot do? And what skill do you bring to the job that AI cannot do? It gets very difficult. So, if the government approached accelerators like they do universities, which is, okay, the people that are doing better get more grants. The people who are there's a reason why Oxford pulls in all the money that it does, is because they have a system that works. Harvard has a system that works. Where is the infrastructure on a state level for the EFs, for the Antlers, to assess, okay, so you have produced 20 unicorns in the past 5 years. Therefore, here is a building in central London. Here is 10 million in funding, 100 million in funding. Go and scale that. And that's what I think is missing. So let 1,000 flowers bloom, let people do as they will, let the numbers talk, and then hopefully let the resources come to the things that actually works. And if EF works, we double down. If Antler works, we double down. If YC works, we double down. Who is doing that doubling down, remains to be seen, because it seems that the state is asleep at the wheel when it comes to entrepreneurship. But yeah, double down on what works is my thing.
That really is inspirational. That it's you don't bash others and their approaches. You're just going to be if that works for you, it works for you. And I'm going to build something that works for me, which is what you've done with Plugged.
Yeah, and I think for example, South Park Commons, who I mentioned earlier, they've been going, I think, 10 years, but their fund has only been around for 3 to 4 years. They've already produced 5 unicorns.
No way!
So
but why are they not getting, wow.
So then exactly, so the question then becomes, what are they doing? Let's do some more of that. And I think that it's really, I think it's as simple as that. Something works, we ask the question, what are they doing? And then we go, let's do more of that. I think that's how simple policy making should be. Forget the ideological lens. What is working practically?
Why do you think people don't do that?
because data requires long time horizons. And by time, like EF is a good example. All of these accelerators have been around for like a decade or more, right? It would have required a consistent, not only policy makers, consistent policy, consistent political priorities. So like entrepreneurship is getting to be all the rage now, or will be, because jobs are disappearing. So it's like, what do I do? One of the options is founding, it's building, etc. But eventually that will fade, and there'll be new priorities. And before, priorities, Blair was elected on education, right? Has education come up once in the past decade since the financial crisis? No, which is insane, right? Because you would think our kids need some educate, but we went, okay, tick. All right, now the next decade is immigration and all of this other stuff, right? So no one has the incentive to think through these things on decades-long horizons, and that's why you see the difference between the Chinese approach and the US approach, and like it's democratic versus sort of more technocratic socialism, where it's like, no, we're thinking in century-long agendas.
It's like cathedral thinking, isn't it? Yeah,
we
never think that way anymore.
No, and I think we need institutions that are less political, who have the incentive and they're insulated from political winds. So like the BBC is a good example of this. The NHS is a good example. Like institutions that are, yes, they politicize, but like the NHS can make a 100-year plan.
Yes.
Even though it is a semi-political institution. It's run by the health secretary, who's a political appointee. The BBC can make a 50-year plan about how do we do that? Like, what is the BBC for entrepreneurship? I don't know. But that's part of the solution to whatever problem. Yeah.
And you mentioned something. So this what's it called? South Bank?
South Park Commons.
South Park Commons. What's their approach? I would love to just hear a little bit more about it.
Their approach is radical selectivity. So it is it's three things. They insist on, we are day -1. So we're not day 0. We are before you are even day 0. We are when you are a skilled individual and you are simply contemplating. Then they figure out, okay, who are the best day -1s? Where do they come from? So they've done an incredible job at filtering people. And I think part of their approach, I don't really know a huge amount. So if this is wrong, then apologies. But they've tried to, again, outsource judgment. It's like, okay, this person comes from MIT, they do this, they do XYZ.
Oh, so they do that.
They do. And like, but that selectivity is then encompassed by a community approach. So it's like, okay, we're going to get these really cool people from really cool institutions. And they look at like people who have built like huge companies, but they were employee number 2 or whatever, right? And then we're going to put them in a community environment, and we're going to develop them, because this is, again, speaks to the time horizons that accelerators put on people, and in general we put on people, which is, if you want day -1, it's probably going to take you about a year to figure stuff out. Yeah. It's going to take you a few months.
Yeah, it's not going to be.
It's not going to be overnight, right? And an accelerator will put you got 3 months and then you're out of there, right? And like what we've seen with Plugged, we did an analysis of all of our event attendees. All of our event attendees, the people in our ecosystem, people who come to our events, they've raised 160 million collectively now, from the likes of A16, Sequoia, YC, etc. And on average, they came into our ecosystem 8 months before they announced their raise.
This is really exciting.
And I'm seeing that with the community. Is like, it typically takes anyone who comes into our community. Like, we've got one founder who's just gone to SF to raise. It's taken him about a year to like kind of like
figure stuff out. Things take time.
And like, where does he exist during that year? Like, an accelerator will give you 3 months and then kick you out. Then you're alone. But if you can just come to a co-working space every day and just work on your idea, bounce ideas, and just gradually have, you got the marble block, and like you gradually chip away until you've got the statue of David, right? But that takes a lot of time.
It does.
Like South Park Commons has that structure where it's just, hey, what if you just chilled out and we'll just wait until you figure it out. And then they've produced 5 unicorns, right? So like it's they returned their fund early, their first fund early.
Firstly.
They're raising like, I think 250 million. The first fund was like 110 million. And again, that's where community comes in. It's like, where do I exist? And again, this is what universities do perfectly, right? Because you've got 3 years to kind of figure your stuff out. And then it just gives you time to kind of explore. And that's what we need more of. Just give people time, get good people and give them time, and they will get there.
Bada bing, bada boom.
That's it.
Because not to shout out Nova and Boba community, but we've had people in there for years before they ever did something noteworthy, like becoming the co-founder to Stephen Bartlett, being co-founder to Bear Grylls, raising millions. But these were just students that like were really scrappy, could barely finish their like, and it's like, they live here, guys. What can we do to really, to be fair, you don't want to speed it up unless you just want to give them a space that they can meet with other people, tinker.
You can speed things up in the sense that you can give people resources. So like, we've got a founder who was just telling me yesterday that every recent success has been because of Plugged.
Nice.
And he's doing, he's done his PhD on aircraft and airline data, and he's now building a product that is all about how do you make the most efficient, from like a revenue point of view, like the most efficient route possible for an airline. And he meets someone in our community who then is mates with the CTO at one of the biggest airline data companies in the world. There's like 3 of them. I can't remember what they're called, but like and then he now goes and has a 3-hour chat with him, and he's like, you're not raising now. As soon as you're ready, call us.
I'm here, yeah.
And then again, meet somebody else who then is mates with another person at another big data company. He has a conversation. They're like, whenever you're ready, like we're ready. Like,
and the money is ready.
The money is ready for you. And in that sense, you can speed people up, right? Because instead of him toiling for a year, it's going to take him a few months. And we run workshops and we do all of this other stuff. It's like, let's upskill you, but no pressure. Just continue paying your membership. Just continue paying your membership. But like, obviously, there's a world where we're not charging membership, and I want to be in that world. But like,
I mean, to make things sustainable, I think that's fine to charge membership, right? So how much is it a month? You can plug it.
It goes from 55 to 350, depending on how much access you want. So you
reasonable-ish if you've got
yeah. And I think like there's a world I want to live in where that's not true. That we have a commercial model that doesn't rely on memberships. But until then, I think I saw a post the other day. It was like, oh, I've just come to London and people are charging for stuff. I'm like, I'm sorry, but like,
that's to make it.
This is the cost of the room. And if we are to ensure that founder gets access to those airlines and builds the thing that needs to be built, then we're going to have to pay rent somehow.
So communities are very hard to monetize. How have you gone about doing that?
Community monetization is extremely difficult because you are attempting to, and I think monetize is a bit of a dirty word, right? I think the way I like to think about it is sustainability. How do I make this community sustainable? And unfortunately, thanks to capitalism, our favorite, like bills need to be paid. And if you want to, I think when I see complaints about community being monetized, the people who are doing that, they will be the same ones that go into the rooms and be like, oh, that was a bit, And it's like, do you know why? Because there is no money to deliver. There is no money for staff. There is no money for rent. So we are just in a random building, doing whatever is free.
People, volunteers, yeah.
And there's no food because there is no money. So you can't in one breath both bemoan the state of events and then also deny people the chance to like the model to make it better. But what you have to do is avoid the Soho House trap, which is you have something really cool that people really love, but then your primary incentive is selling memberships. So you oversell memberships and you list on the stock market, which makes the profit incentive even greater. You sell more memberships and then everyone leaves and you're no longer cool and you have to leave the stock market and rebrand
to be cool again.
And you need to like basically build your brand again. So that's the trap that you have to avoid. And it means if you're building community that you have to align your own incentives, because no matter what you tell yourself, if the money is coming from somewhere, you will do more to get that money because that's just the nature of business. You need to pay the bills. Yeah. So you have to align incentives such that you are somehow creating more value for your members whilst also getting more money for the community operation. So our model in Plugged is we made around like 300K last year.
Nice. Really shout that out. 300K from a community. And it is a good community, not just a money grabbing community. Yeah.
So like the way that we view it is, you know, we've delivered now. We're going to be hitting like our 90-second event in the space of a year and a bit, a year and a quarter. And we've delivered at scale. Our average rating on Luma is 4.8 out of 5 stars. And we've created a model which is commercially sustainable. So for us, it's like all the indicators are saying we've got something that's sustainable and we've got something that we haven't lost the magic. People are still coming back and they're rating our events very, very highly. And the reason, the way we've been able to do that is that most of that money has come from value add services to the community. So the community acts as the community has needs. And the community will go and fulfill those needs elsewhere. But if you bring those services in-house, if they fulfill them with you, then you are able to curate your community. You don't need to oversell membership. So we roughly reject around 70% of applications.
No way.
Because it's about curation, right? It's like if you
Would I get in? Would I get in?
You're already in. You're already in. Just there it is. There it is. Take my number after. We'll get you a membership.
I'll text you.
And we reject roughly 70%. Because it is a curated community. It's about, are you a serious builder? Are you going to be here? Do you care? Are you going to get on with everyone? And we then have a community of people who are, you know, growing and they're going to market and all of this stuff, and they need services. So we would provide them with talent placement services. So we have a sister company called the Generalist Company, and that does startup consulting and it does talent placement. So
nice.
You're an operator who needs a startup to work in, we match you, and then we take a recruitment fee, right? So, I mean, it's funny because like in the UK economy, everything's recruitment.
Yeah.
It's like this entire
all boils
economy,
down to recruitment.
It's just like one recruit at the top and everyone's. But it's a value add, right? Now our membership can also say, in return, once you're a member, you get access to a talent network. So most of that money came from that, and that's been used to subsidize Plugged. And then the other value adds are our sponsorships and our partners. So we have people who come in and run free workshops for our founders who upskill them. So we just did one with Dust. That's a AI agents orchestration platform. And they were just teaching founders how to use agents to streamline their operations and to, you know, spend less money on headcount and be more efficient and faster in the build. That's a massive value add. The member gets that as for free, and then we get sponsorship money. So it's like our incentives are now aligned around how do we keep adding value services and things that we can provide, which increase the value of the membership, and ultimately it just gets better. The more money we make, the better the community should be. So when your incentives are aligned around there, Soho House is different, right? Because the more money they make, the worse the community gets, because they have to just like open the funnels and open the floodgates.
Is it the fact it's not curated anymore? That's
it's the fact that you can't curate at scale. You can't fill like 30 locations worldwide or whatever, and try and double your profits and not have some sort of knock-on effect. But if Soho House's model was more like, I don't know what I could possibly tell them, but like if their incentives were, our membership only gets more valuable the more money we make, then when you are going out to get more money, you are just making it more valuable. So like, you know, we're going to sign deals with, you know, cloud computing companies and AI companies to get credits for our members and all that stuff. And again, that's something where we're going to get paid, but we're also delivering a service
more
for our
value,
members.
yeah.
And that's, in my opinion, that's how you monetize community. You, as a community builder, you align your commercial incentives with the quality of experience and ensure that as the quality of experience goes up, money is going up. If money goes up, it means quality of experience is going up. And obviously you need to make decisions, right? There will be some partners that come to us where it doesn't make sense. It's like, this is not a value add. You should not be in the room. Therefore, so it's not at all costs.
When you do that, you would do.
Oh yeah, like if a partner would come to us and say, look, we want to do X, Y, Z. I'm like, what you want to do is sell. And obviously all workshops are sales in some sense, right? But the Dust workshop was people literally left with agents that were doing jobs for them that they didn't have before.
Yeah.
Like, that's a value add. And what Dust gets is, more people for their, but everyone wins in that sense. So it's like, community is a question of how do you make everyone win? And if everyone's winning, the community builder's winning, the commercials are winning, members are winning, then you've got something that's sustainable.
You obviously have amazing strategy and brand. How do you even do it? Like, your brain is obviously working at, how is your brain working to marry strategy but also being managing your brand, being social? Like, these are a lot of skills to be good at, and you are amazing at all of them. How?
I think the way that I approach the brand is, to what extent is this an expression of my authentic self and our authentic self? So I'm not alone. I've got my co-founder Chiesa, I've got Lucy, who heads our community operations. I've got Kush, who heads our content. And
did you have to pay them all to come on board? Sorry to interrupt.
Oh yeah, so they were. Everyone's being paid, and it's all like, it's again like we got the commercial operations to sustain it.
But how did you get the money? Did they come on without being paid first, or how did that happen?
So the generalist company was actually the thing that started before the plug. So I can get to the plug's origin story. So the generalist company was I joined a YC startup called Prolific.
I've heard of them.
Straight out of uni, so they match researchers with participants for research online. And when I joined, they hadn't hired. I was their first growth hire. And when I joined, it's the pandemic. Offline research became impossible. So online research exploded. They 4x'd overnight. They hadn't hired a commercial team. The team was basically the core executive team, like some data analysts, engineers, and customer service. So I was the only one who was kind of like a more generalist who could kind of be in different parts of the business. So it was all hands on deck. If you 4x your user base overnight, there's going to be some fires you need to put out. So I did customer service for the first few months, and then I did their investor reporting, data reporting. I did operations, recruitment, community, social media, like anything that needed to be done. It was like, if you can do it, go do it. If you can't, go learn the skill and then come back and do it. So for 2 years, I was doing that. I was like stretched across three or four different roles, and then eventually hired out the people to replace me across those roles, and helped interview them and all that stuff. And then kind of looked around, I was like, oh, I haven't actually got a job anymore because we've hired all the people. So they were like,
a great thing, yeah.
It was great. But then they were like, okay, so here are some paths. Do you want to become a product manager? You want to do this? Do you want to do that? I was like, do you know what? None of that really. I like what I was just doing. So then I quit. And started a business on that basis, which is companies are scaling quickly, and they need someone just to kind of hold the fort for however long until you can hire the long-term person, because hiring takes
a long,
like 3 to 6 months if you're quick, from listing to when they're fully on board. And if you do not solve certain problems within 6 months, you are dead.
Yeah, you just need that gap, the plug.
You just need it. That's it. You just need to.
Is that why it's called plug?
No.
Oh,
that's different. That's different.
Okay, fair.
I'll get into that.
Okay,
but it was, and basically the model was we send someone in on a temporary basis, they hold the fort, and then we will do the search in the background and find you what you actually need. Because founders, when you're hiring for the first time, you don't actually know what you need. But because we're in the business embedded, we actually can see what you need. So there are founders who are like, oh, I need a growth person. I was like, no, you need a customer success person because you're not handling your accounts in the right way, and you want to grow, deal with your customers.
Deal with your customers, yeah.
Because one of the things you're making me do is as a generalist is answer customer service inquiries. So I know exactly where you are not serving your customers, and you want to grow more. And I'm like, no, serve your customer base. Your first hire should be customer success, not growth. So like, that sort of embeddedness gives you so much context on what ought to be done. And then we eventually find you those people, and then we embed them, and then we move out of the business. And the generalist company was that. And then I was like, how do I find clients, right? You have to go.
I'm looking down because I'm going to make a note of something.
Yeah. It's like, how do I find clients? Well, I need to go to communities and events and find founders, because founders, they buy via WhatsApp, right? It's referrals. It's not, no one Googles recruitment companies. They're like, who's used somebody, please help, refer me, intro. And and went to all of these community events, and they were so bad. They were so bad. They were so bad. They were so awkward and terrible. And it irked me, like really in my soul. You've got founders who are sacrificing so much to build things that are going to change the world and going to improve lives in most cases. And they're being given subpar experiences, and all they have left is their time. And they go to these events. That's the thing. All you have left, you've sacrificed socially, physically, mentally, financially. All you have left is your time, and all you want to do is go and connect with people and make friends and re-energize. And you go there, and it's like a really stale, unedifying experience. And I think that's rude. I think that's,
you think that's rude?
I think it's rude. And I think partly it's the problem we were talking about earlier about how do you commercialize community? How do you actually have the resources to deliver better experiences? But I think that founders deserve better. So I remember going to an event and being like, okay, enough is enough.
Which event was it? Not, you don't have to name names, but just what was about the event?
It was just like a panel and a networking event, like with some VCs who were kind of rude. I was like, what was that? That was annoying. So I went home and I created the landing page that night. And it was all about plugging in and plugging out. You plug into the grind, you plug out and re-energize. And so all of our events have that format. There is a grind portion, you work, and then you re-energize and connect and meet people. And so we started as a house party. That was my thing. I was like, okay, how do we do this better? So I invited founders around my house. We had like 40 founders come around my house in Peckham. We had a fireside chat from the former head of ops at Airbnb UK, and we were just all on cushions on the floor, like listening to him.
Yeah.
And then we had a house party, and it was, I was on the decks, and we had a mixologist, and we had the consoles out, and people were playing games and all that. And that's how it all began. It really started as like, how do I market my other company? And then it turned into its own thing because we started doing more house parties and more co-working days. And that first house party, we like kicked out the last people at 4 a.m. We're like, okay,
guys,
it's time
we're
for me
good,
to sleep.
but yeah,
Please.
now we need to.
Please. Like the last house party was 6 a.m. I was like, okay, guys, it's enough. And the typical week at Plugged, you might be doing a hackathon or an all-nighter on a Thursday. And then you are house partying on a Saturday, and then you're back in work on a Tuesday doing like, a workshop with Dust. And it's like, it's that full spectrum of experience that allows you to both go deep, recharge, to connect, and people see you in that full spectrum and they can connect with you. Like the fundamental thesis behind Plugged is networking events. The reason why they don't work is because they welcome one side of you. So you have to show up to a networking event, and most community events, prim and proper and professional. And if you're prim, proper and professional, that's maybe 30, 40% of you. That means 60% of you is at the door, which means no one's actually in the room. So it is actually conceptually impossible, like spiritually impossible to connect with anyone because no one's in the room.
So no one is who they are.
No one is who they are. So like, how can you connect with them? Because they're not there. That's really the problem. So we were based on the premise of, how do we allow people to show up? How do we allow people to both show you their house party side and their games night side and their hackathon side and their deep work side? And in seeing them for all they are, it's like university, right?
Yeah, that's how you make friendships, like, because you.
That's it. And like universities they've survived, thousands of years for a reason, because they are excellent at community building. And community building is simply, from like a friendship point of view, we say like friendship is growth infrastructure. The more you are friends with people, the more they will help you and the more they'll put themselves out to you. And if you're friends with the right people, you're going to move far quicker than you would have alone. And the university will give you the front row of your wedding, because they've seen you during your essay crisis, in the library, in the club, at the film night, at the games night. They've seen you at the cultural society. They've seen every part of you, and they love you for all parts of you.
And that's how uni friends can stay. Yeah.
And that's why you stick, right? Because if anyone sees a bit and they're like, then they're gonna scarper, and they'll never be in your life again, and that's fine, because the people who remain will be the ones who actually care about you in the full
all
spectrum.
of you, yeah.
So like, Our job at Plugged is, if we truly believe that friendship is growth infrastructure, then we need to make sure people are friends. And if they are to be true friends, then they need to be seeing each other in the full spectrum, which means that our events need to hold people in the complexity of who they are. And at the very basic, people have two sides. There's work and play. So we start there, and as time goes on, we'll try and do more. But I think there is when people say like events are one dimensional, it's true in the explicit framing of that thought. It's literally one dimension. So if we are to allow people to truly connect, then they are multidimensional. Therefore, spaces must be multidimensional. Experiences must be multidimensional. The way you talk to people must be multidimensional. So to your point about branding, to bring it back to the branding point, like if we truly believe that friendship is growth infrastructure, then how ought we to talk? How ought we to communicate? To what extent should Plugged be an expression of our authentic selves? So every single one of our team sees themselves in Plugged. They speak like Plugged. It's so like Chiesa, my co-founder, for whom without him, impossible.
I've met him. He's an amazing guy. Yeah.
And like our communication philosophy is, if we are friends, then we've got to talk to you like friends. The post that we put on LinkedIn should feel like it wouldn't feel out of place in the group chat. So like group chat mentality needs to translate into public. And when you say like, how do you do all of this stuff concurrently? The answer is, there is nothing that's being done that isn't a true expression of who we are. So it becomes natural. So when I am on LinkedIn, I am talking as I would talk to my mates. Like if you see some of the messages I send to my mates when we're like organizing parties and stuff, you would think it's a Plug post, because I'm just speaking as I would speak. So like, it's not difficult, because I literally, my newsletters, right? I just sit there and be like, what do I think today?
Type it out.
And there's no filtering beyond that, right? So yeah, like if people are friends, they will look out for each other. And if they look out for each other, everyone moves quicker. And we just have to provide the environment where they can become friends and where they can enjoy being themselves. And it requires vibe, it requires culture, it requires a lot of care and detail, and it requires people to feel comfortable. And for people to feel comfortable, they need to be there. They need to like be held and seen. And like, I've got a lot of thoughts around like philosophy of events and like whatever, but like,
we need a part two, because Josh, there's so much more I want to ask you about your philosophies, because you're clearly incredibly intelligent, thinking about all these things at once, which is incredible. And I don't think there's a lot of people taking as much care and detail into building a community as you are. So it's been really fantastic to chat.
Thank you so much.
Genuinely, we've had such a great time.
Yeah.
Thanks, Josh.
We'll do part two.
We'll do part two. Yeah. Thank you, Josh.